Hello and greetings. I am fighting severe flu and cough. So, at my advance apologies for any sneeze or cough while I am talking to you or discussing a very important issue. Pakistan Army has often been blamed for its taking part into politics, meddling into political affairs, and doing some unconstitutional things in the past. But this is another fact that Pakistan Army has always been tasked some of roles that was not primary responsibility of our army, and hence army has ingress into Pakistan's political, democratic, or parliamentary system. And who is to be held responsible for this? This is our history that Pakistan has seen three martial laws where power hungry generals took power into their hands, and they hanged an elected prime minister, and they jailed elected prime ministers. Some of One of the prime ministers was exiled. Rather, two prime ministers were forced to go to exile. And this is our history, which is very unfortunate. When I was a small kid, we, as school children, school kids, students, we were used to be taken to a playground adjacent to our school where political activists and some criminals were lashed in front of students like us. And imagine what effect we would have had on our innocent and young minds when we were forced to watch those lashing events publicly. And some criminals would scream, yell, and cry, and some political activists would raise slogans against military dictator Zia and in favor of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and they would say, GA Bhutto, GA Bhutto. With each lash, they would raise slogans. So that is our history. Even today, Pakistan Army is playing multiple roles, be it spearheading Pakistan's investment policy through Special Investment Facilitation Council, or Pakistan's foreign policy vis-a-vis US, China, and Gulf countries, be it inviting investment from US, China in CPEC and in different fields like minerals, agriculture, tourism, and some other areas. At the same time, Pakistan Army is defending its eastern borders with India. Pakistan Army is fighting against terrorism on its western borders with Afghanistan. Pakistan Army is fighting against TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. Pakistan Army is fighting against Balochistan Liberation Army, Indian-backed or India-backed Balochistan Liberation Army in Balochistan. Pakistan Army is nowadays taking part in rescue operations during floods in Gilgit-Baltistan. Pakistan Army is involved in rescue, relief, and rehab operations in Gilgit-Baltistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab during high floods. So whenever there is a calamity like earthquake or floods, Pakistan Army is there. And constitutionally, Pakistan Army can play any role if it is asked or instructed or directed by the civilian administration. Whenever there is a need, even to combat hardened criminals or terrorists, Pakistan Army can be called by the civil administration under the Article 245 of Pakistani Constitution. That is fine. But when civilian governments fail to check pilferage in different departments, then Pakistan Army has been given the role of accountability in the shape of NAB. NAB was often headed by a retired general. NAB has so many retired and in the past even serving military officers who hold accountability. And we have seen in the past that Pakistan Army was given the task to cleanse Pakistan WAPDA, Water and Power Development Authority, of corruption. Pakistan Army was tasked to eradicate corruption from WAPDA. Pakistan Army was given the assignment of detecting ghost schools in Pakistan. So it was failure of several civilian governments who handed over their power to the army under one law or the other act of parliament. So we cannot entirely blame our army for taking part in civilian affairs. It was the civilian government, or it were the civilian governments who, to be very honest, given that space to army, and hence army's ingress into civilian affairs. In the past, we have seen that a certain wing of army was given the assignment or was assigned to manage parliamentarian through a retired colonel who used to sit in the Parliament of Pakistan, in the National Assembly of Pakistan. He used to have an office, he used to manage government as well as opposition MNAs. So this is our past, which is very unfortunate. We often hear from international and national press, some intellectuals, some political commentators, that Pakistan is having a hybrid dispensation, or Pakistan is having a hybrid government in Pakistan. Some say it's hybrid plus. Even Pakistani senior federal ministers, they admit and they think and they say, they claim that this hybrid system suits the army as well as political leadership. Now, the question arises, can these multiple roles being played by the army in Pakistan, can it fatigue Pakistan army? And what would be your answer if I asked you the same question? Yes, armies can be fatigued if there is a prolonged war. And we know that Pakistan is fighting war against terror for the last 3 decades. And hence, the fatigue factor we cannot rule out. And when you are using armed forces to combat terrorism, to protect and defend its borders, to fight against terrorists, to conduct intelligence-based operations against terrorists, to look after some of the civilian departments, to oversee Pakistan's foreign policy, to go for investment or seek investment from the friendly countries who somehow believe that this is the only disciplined and powerful institution in Pakistan, and hence they feel comfortable or they feel at ease while they are negotiating with Army Chief of Pakistan. I am not talking about specifically the current Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir. I am talking about his predecessors as well. General Bajwa, General Rahil Sharif, General Ishfaq Pervez Kiani, and so many others. General Pervez Musharraf, obviously, he was not only the army chief but the president of Pakistan as well. And this is another unfortunate reality that Pakistani political leadership often looks upon generals in order to get to the power corridor, in order to become prime ministers, in order to become chief ministers, in order to become into power in Pakistan. And this is a fact that we have seen in the past, that certain political leaders or heads of political parties have been meeting clandestinely with the army chiefs, and in Pakistan it is called establishment. So basically it's the army with whom they try to be hands in glove. And we haven't learned lessons from our history that the political forces or the political parties which need shoulders of Pakistan military or army to come into power, and it is the army that throws them out of power and brings another lot and experiments again, and that experiment goes wrong again and again. It is an established fact, when you keep on repeating the same mistake, the results would never be different. But hence, we are experimenting our political leadership's failure, corruption, nepotism, and some other follies and weaknesses. They go beyond their mandate, they suppress the freedom of the press, they gag dissenting voices, they jail their political opponents, their families, like we are seeing nowadays. But this has been practiced for the last 40, 50 years. Since Ayub Khan's martial law in 1958, we have seen this. Maybe it's more than 60 years now. So this is our checkered history. I think this is time that all the political forces in Pakistan, they join hands, they sign some new social contract, another charter of democracy, charter of Pakistan, or maybe national reconciliation order, which is always referred to as NRO. And in Pakistan, unfortunately, NRO means a pardon by the establishment. But the real NRO that was signed in South Africa, that means that you accept and admit your mistakes of the past, you apologize for those mistakes, and you pledge, you promise with your nation that you would not repeat such mistakes. Imagine if Pakistan has a strong civilian government, strong democratic parliamentary system, and army plays its own role, which is primarily which is to defend the frontiers and borders of the country, which is to protect Pakistanis against any foreign aggression, and the political leadership and political governments do their best to bring in investment from other countries, to tap natural resources in Pakistan, to eradicate corruption from various ministries and departments, and to devolve the power to the Union Council level. Pakistan's economy would take off like a rocket, like this. But this is not happening. And if we do that, if Pakistani political leadership across the board decides to do that, then we would have no reason to look up to the army to bring them to the power. then we will have no reason to blame army for its multiple role. It's okay if it's duty of army if it's called in for rescue and rehab operations to save lives in case of any calamity like earthquake, floods. It's fine if Pakistan army is fighting against terrorism. It's fine if Pakistan army is given the prime responsibility of defending Pakistan. But as long as army is meddling into political affairs, and that is again, I would repeat that it is just because of incompetence of our political leaders. Then when we have incompetent, inept and unpopular political leaders elected as our rulers, then obviously indirectly they give their space to Pakistan army. I hope this will change, but I don't think anytime soon. What do you think about it? Please do let me know. Thank you very much for watching.